Welcome back, everybody. You are tuned into the Angry Hacks podcast on the first Tuesday after week 1 of the NFL. I'm excited, guys, and I hope you all are. We got Nunzi, Stan the Man, Michael Hall, ready for a great discussion coming at you tonight. Stan, what's up, bro?
Not much, brother. How you doing?
Feeling good. Mike, how you feeling tonight?
Football. Let's go.
It's all football, folks. It's all football. We're going to get into some great topics. We're going to preview the NFL season, even though we're a little late. Week 1 already passed, but that just bodes for some good discussion tonight. We're also going to end with some fantasy football, how the three of us did in our league so far. So, and we'll give you some good waiver wire pickups too later on. All right, I want to hop right into this. Talk about our New York Giants really quick. Now, we already saw a pitiful game that I hope everybody heard on the last podcast because we pretty much ripped the team, which they needed to be ripped. But this is how I feel, Rye, for the season. This was even before the other day's game. Okay, I knew coming in that we had this great defense. I felt like they were going to take a step up even more this year. They really got me last year, and I didn't think they were going to be that dominant, especially at the tail end of the year, which is kind of why they did make the playoffs. But to be honest with you, dude, I don't know how you feel. I think still they could be a top 3 defense in this league. What do you think?
I think it's definitely possible. I mean, we played like absolute garbage week 1, and we held the Cowboys to under 20 points. And
right.
They were moving the ball down the field. They converted 8 third downs or something like that, and we still were able to hold them under 20. I think that the Giants D is just going to settle. They're going to settle into a groove. The way JPP looked the other night, I was rewatching some videos after our quick response pod on Monday. I was watching some videos and highlights of the game and trying to watch, and I noticed that Pierre-Paul looks really good, and I just think that he's gonna get to the quarterback this year. I know we didn't really get to Dak, but Dak is a mobile quarterback. We're gonna get to other quarterbacks this year.
Yeah,
and I expect the defense to be a lot better.
Well,
the rest of the way.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that our strengths come from the defensive line, like usual. And I also think our D-backs could be a real stellar squad. Putting that first game aside where they were just on the field very long, they really got tired. They looked really good. Now, a bright spot, Rye, that I forgot to mention the other day with this team, we don't usually talk about the linebackers much because usually there's nobody that stands out. I feel like the last dominant linebacker we had was Antonio Pierce, and BJ Goodson had 18 tackles the other day. He was all over the field. I watched a couple of highlights as well, and he was in almost every play, dude. See from a guy that is now the starter, and he's really making waves for this defense.
Yeah, it's a second-year guy. A lot of these guys, you don't know what you have their rookie season, but it's year 2. Year 2 is like the most important year. It's the year that they can really blossom. And I hope that that's just a sign of what's to come the rest of the way. And I hope that the Paul Perkins year 2 game 1 is not what the sign is the rest of the way.
Oh, man. I know. And, they talk about sophomore slump in sports and, it's his year 2 here. I never buy that crap, to be honest with you. Never buy that crap. I hate it. I hate that word or that phrase, sophomore slump. Let the guy play, show us what he's got, and that's it. Now, the problem the defense had the first game, like we've already discussed, wasn't because of them. It was because of the offense on our side. And it just kept that defense out way too long. This defense is going to be fine. What I'm worried about, and I was a little worried but even more after game one of the offense. This is a squad that should have improved. You got to look as an organization at your weaknesses and your strengths in the offseason, obviously. And what was a big weakness? It was that offense as a whole. Now, they upgraded at the wide receiver position. They grabbed Brandon Marshall, which I think, and I know you think, was a great signing. They drafted a tight end in the first round who's a very athletic tight end, a guy that's probably going to play a lot in the slot, needs some improvement blocking, but that's why we kind of got Rhett Ellison too, so to balance him out a little bit. So I think we upgraded at the tight end position too. But where did we not upgrade at all? Where did we not upgrade?
The offensive line.
The offensive freaking line. Dude, there's really many negative words you can say about that offensive line. They're atrocious. Atrocious. And I even thought they were going to be atrocious before that first week. I was kind of putting them on the back burner and kind of like dusting it under the rug because I didn't even want to think about it. But they showed us how scary they can be, and not in a good way. I mean, what else do you say about this offensive line?
I mean, it's the fear that we all had coming to the year, and after one game, which I don't want to overreact after one game, but you know what? The game's a meaningful one. It's an interdivision game. It's a huge game, and our fears came true. They sucked. Absolutely
sucked. So coming in, we kind of knew that was still going to be a weak point. It really was. The running backs, same thing. Coming into the season, I still think that behind that offensive line and coupled with that offensive line, I still think it was very weak. It was one of our weaker positions. I like Paul Perkins. I was happy when we drafted him, where we drafted him, but I was still unsure on if he could be a top back, a guy that's going to be out there 3 downs. I mean, I didn't know. So I feel like that was still also an unknown. What do you feel about that?
I mean, it's still an unknown. Like you said, I love where we drafted him, just like I love where we drafted Gallman this year. I mean, I think we drafted these guys at the right spots because either one of them could be really good, but it's all potential, and it's nothing proven yet. And Perkins hasn't proved anything yet. So I don't know. It's like a long road, but I really hope that in these next few weeks or next week, he could really show us something.
Yeah, and you know what? What doesn't help this offense is, and Mike, I know you're still sitting there, but I know that this is going to maybe stir something up because we've talked about this before and discussed this together before. Our play calling. Okay? Yes, the play calling. From a guy you know very well in Mr. McAdoo.
Benny Mac with the hair, yes.
Right. To be honest with you, when we said that he was going to be our head coach, I was like, okay, I like it. I didn't feel like there was anybody else out there that could take over this team and be there for the long term. This guy's a young guy. Dude, he comes from a great organization. Michael, you know that. And that organization always has that dynamic offense under McCarthy. So he kind of came from McCarthy's tutelage. But last year started just awful play calling. And I know we would text back and forth and this and that, and we would just rip him. And Mike, I know you came to his side a lot, wouldn't you say?
Well, yes, but I don't think I was really defending him. I just kind of defend the school of thought of, I mean, it's players, not plays. I mean, you know, X's and you can have all the good X's and O's, but you need the Willie and Joes. You know what I mean? You need the guys to run these plays. And when I look at the Giants, you know, the offensive line is just it's a huge problem, and I think it's the only problem right now. You fix an offensive line, and you see everything else really kind of fall into place. So you know what? I think you got to challenge Ben McAdoo right now, because I think for once I'm going to admit that the play calling needs a little it needs some kind of jolt, because unless you are going to go out and sign 5 new guys to play on your offensive line, which you guys know that's not happening, you're going to have to get creative. You're going to have to find creative ways to get your playmakers the ball and put some drives together and maybe not be the most dynamic offense. But, I mean, Sunday night, it was so stagnant. It was hard to watch. So there's your challenge for McAdoo.
Yeah.
I'm finally admitting it. So you don't have the players, so we need plays.
I feel like you are admitting it after seeing that week 1 game, because maybe you think over the offseason they kind of look at themselves and say, a lot of this stuff didn't work. And then you go out and get a couple of players, a couple of proven players, and you draft a couple of athletic guys, and you maybe think, okay, so we got to change our thinking a little bit. I mean, not go away from what we always do, but you got to mix some things up. And I feel like after that week 1, like I said, Ryan, we both said the other day on the podcast, it was the same old song and dance for that offense. But I think that the offensive line just made it 10 times worse, because, to be honest with you, out of all the games last year and Sunday's game, that was the worst I've seen this offensive line play total. And it just made the play calling worse, because I feel like they couldn't do what they wanted to do. So, I mean, overall, even before this game, and I'm even saying this still, I still like this team a lot. I think we're going to be driven by this defense, which is okay. Teams have been driven by their defense before. Look at that. I think it was 2006 Bears, Rex Grossman, that defense with Urlacher and Briggs, they were phenomenal. And they were driven by their defense. And where did they go? I might be getting the year wrong when they played the Colts. What year was that, guys? Do you remember? I don't know why 06 is bringing.
You got to be close. If it's not 06, it was around then.
We know
it was 06 or 07. I think it was 06 or 07, something like that.
Right, and they went to the Super Bowl, but it was mostly because of that defense.
Oh, it was the 06 07 year, because we win the year after Peyton won.
Right.
Correct.
Right. So, okay, I'm right there. So anyway, I like this team a lot, okay? My prediction for them, even before the game Sunday, was 10-6. I'm going to keep that prediction at 10-6. I think they're going to get better. I think this coaching staff's going to get this team ready for Monday night at home, their home opener against the Lions. And we're going to be ready to go. And I expect a 10-6 season. I do. Anything better would be excellent, okay? And I think they're going to challenge for the division. I'm not going to tell you what yet, because we're going to talk about our picks later. So, I mean, that's how I feel about this team. Ryan, what's your prediction for this team?
I agree. I agree with around the 10-6. I mean, it's what I want. Obviously, I would love for it to be a little better than 10-6, but realistically looking at it, 10-6 is where I saw them at coming into the year. After week 1's game, I'm not going to push the panic button yet. So I'm going to say 10-6. I mean, we're a good team, or we should be good. Let's see what happens also when Odell's in the field. We were missing some guys. We were missing our best player. I mean, our best offensive. So things could change with him on the field.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And, we never really mentioned him too much, but, he makes a humongous difference on that offense. Now, Mike, before we get to your Green Bay Packers, I gotta get this off my chest, because I was listening to a lot of radio on the way home from work and on the way to work today, and I want to talk about a guy that I know very well. His name is Adrian Peterson. You know him, right, guys?
The running back, yes.
Yeah, Mike. I mean, you saw him a lot, 2 times a year. He was a Viking. Very good running back, and I know him well, being an Oklahoma Sooner fan. Here's my thing. And Rye, I know you might jump down my throat here. This team, the New York Giants, I know it's only 1 week in. They got to trade for him right now. Right now.
Never happening. Never going to happen. These trades don't happen in the NFL mid-year. It's never going to happen. I know he got into that fight with not fight, but like verbal spat with Peyton on the field last night. But it's never going to happen. I understand what you're saying for that type of player. You know, you just never know. You might catch lightning in a bottle. I do think the Saints are going to use him this year, especially when they're close to the goal line. So I don't see that ever happening unless we gave up like something decent in a draft pick, and I don't want to do that for a guy that beats his kids, to be honest with you.
Well, all right. Well,
I said it.
I know you did. That's fine. That's fine. Well, let me say why I'm kind of jumping the gun real early. I just think this team, and I know football is a lot different than baseball and other sports with the whole in quotations win now philosophy, because football you can be a 11-5 division winner and then the next season win like 3 games. That happens. It's a turnover every year. But I feel like we're like on the brink of something really good, and we need to shore one of our weaknesses up. Now, the thing is, what would the Saints actually want for somebody like Peterson? Is it a 4th or 5th rounder of next year? I don't think they could demand anything real high, like a 1st or 2nd rounder.
It may be a 6th.
Exactly. Or is it like a 6th even later? I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. 4th or 5th. I'm the Giants and they want a 5th rounder. I'm doing it.
But you know
I really am.
But what's the biggest weakness on our team? Yes, running been weak, but it's the offensive line. And until we change the offensive line, like I said, I don't think it matters who we have back there. If it was Adrian Peterson 7 years ago, would be different, but it's Adrian Peterson now. It's not the same Adrian Peterson.
Well,
I know.
Stan, I disagree a little bit. Because I agree with you in terms of the offense. Until you fix the offensive line, there's really not much you're going to be able to do. But bringing in a guy like Adrian Peterson, who, I mean, let's be honest, this guy's a freak of nature. I mean, I don't think he's that far off from the Adrian Peterson of old. I don't care how many knee injuries he's had. I don't care if he's got 2 replacement hips or a prosthetic arm. This guy's an animal, and I think he still is. And I think that's why he's standing on the sideline last night steaming, because he's chomping at the bit right now. You bring in a guy like that, might put such a jolt into that locker room that it actually may make a difference. It may, I mean, you may see elevated games from the offensive line. I mean, you just never know. I think there would be a chance of that working.
Yeah. Mike, I'm with you in that sense. And my thing is, I just think out of any team, I think it's just the perfect fit for the Giants. It's a team that can't run the ball, need that jolt, that veteran presence, and that could take a big load off of Paul Perkins. Maybe he's just not ready to be the starter yet. Maybe he's not ready. Maybe he needs a year or 2 to mature in this offense and get used to this offense, and then maybe he takes the reins. Now, Rye, I understand there are many cons or drawbacks to this deal. And I'm not ever saying that it's going to happen, and it probably won't. I'm just saying they really should take a look at it, just because I think we need to win now. And if we get somebody like that, I think it ups our chances a decent amount. Yes, he's 32 years old. In running back terms, that's old. It's very old, okay? He's not the guy he used to be. Mike, I'm with you. He's not too far off, but he isn't the guy that he used to be. He is coming off that knee injury. That's a big no-no. Rye, I'm with you. I never condone beating of children or anybody in that sense, and that's a big it is a big turnoff, and I believe that is your biggest turnoff, to be honest with you. If that incident didn't happen, would you feel a little bit different?
Yes. I mean, if you take that stuff off the table, I would think.
Well,
I mean, this guy, like Mike said, he is a freak of nature. He has been his whole career. The other reason why, like, I know that you're saying this probably won't happen. You know what? It's not going to ever happen.
Mhm.
Part of the reason for it is the fact that that did happen, and with the whole Josh Brown nightmare with the Giants, I don't think they're going to doubt that again.
That's a good point. That's a really good point, Rye. It's something that didn't even come to my mind. That's a great point. It's probably not going to happen. The Giants do not want that media coverage, that negative media coverage again, because they did handle that Josh Brown incident really bad.
No, they did. They handled it terribly. But, like, I like your thought process for the win now, because how many more years left of Eli do we have?
Right.
Not many.
3. Maybe 2 or 3. He says 4 or 5, but I think 2, 3 at the most.
Right. And the fact is I agree with the win now mentality. So if there was a guy out there that we could get for something, I mean, I would consider doing it. Like, I don't know if Peterson would be the guy.
Right.
But I like your idea.
Okay.
And these trades just don't happen in the NFL, even though they should.
No, you're right. Now, I'm glad you brought that up because – okay, maybe this is not the right move. Now, we've said the last half hour or so since we've been on, it's the offensive line that's the problem. Correct. So is there anybody out there to go and grab on the offensive line? I don't know. Is Joe Thomas available? Would you rather a guy like Joe Thomas than going out and get Peterson? What do you feel about that?
Well, Joe Thomas, you know, he's been great his whole career. I know he's been around forever, so I know he's probably in the decline of his career. But
he's just been on a shitty team.
Yeah, but he's been there his whole career too. Something tells me he actually doesn't want to leave Cleveland. But anyway, yeah, I would. There's no one available yet. It's after week 1.
Yeah.
Unless you call a team and make a trade like – actually, the Browns are the team that would make a trade like this. Yep. Coming into the season, they made an NBA baseball type trade, really an NBA type trade in that Osweiler deal.
Yeah.
A lot of people laughed at the trade, like, why are they trading for this $72 million contract? But you know what? I love that move because they didn't care. They didn't want Osweiler. They wanted the second-round pick with Osweiler.
Yep.
And I like that type of move because that's you know, if you're willing to pay the money and it will make your team to take the cap hit, you'll make your team a little better. I don't know if we have like a bad contract to throw them or something to get something back and give them a good pick or something like that. And we can, you know, or some sort of team. I'm not just saying Joe Thomas, but any type of team. You throw them one of our bad contracts and a second, third round pick, which I think is a lot. But if you're getting a good lineman, it might be worth it.
Well, Mike, let me ask you this because I know you're a big advocate for the offensive lineman. I know you are. You love a good offensive line.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. So, if you're in the Giants organization and you need to make deals, you're in the room, you guys are discussing, we have problems, this is where our problems and weaknesses are. Would getting a top offensive lineman in a trade, do you think that would cost more than getting Peterson?
Yeah. Right now, for the difference maker that you would want and need.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas is going to cost more than might be looking at a third or fourth round pick at the stage of his career. But like Stanley said, these trades, I don't know what it is, but they just never happen.
They don't.
And so, you may be looking internally. I'm sure they're going to try to sign a few guys off the scrap heap and see if they can, find anything there. But and I'll say this, one thing that's really important is continuity. The same 5 guys playing next to each other, the same guy over your left shoulder, same guy over your right shoulder. And the longer you have that, the better you're going to be, even if they're not that good a football player. So if you can keep the same 5 guys intact, and I know injuries happen, but the longer you can keep a line intact, even mediocre football players, you see decent results.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. You make a really, really nice point because Rye, our last 2 Super Bowls, we had that offensive line intact. There was continuity throughout the whole season, and it makes a huge difference because those two seasons that we won that Super Bowl, did we have a top running back? No.
The
No,
running back left.
No. Yeah, our last top running back, he left. He left the year before we won the 2007 Super Bowl.
Yep.
We had Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs, which I'm not taking anything away from those two guys, but they're not stud running backs. They never were. They were just perfect for the system they ran and had a great offensive line to run behind. Do you agree or do not agree? I mean, it's pretty cut and dry.
I agree. I often have wondered what it would have been like if Tiki Barber had stayed. Like, maybe it wouldn't have been as good. You never know. Maybe he would have fumbled a lot. But I often wondered what it would have been like if Tiki Barber stayed with the Giants. And you know what? I don't care. We won 2 Super Bowls. I'm just saying it would be a nice what if.
Yeah, I laugh at him. I'm still bitter about him, and I just laugh because he leaves and we win a Super Bowl. Ha ha, Tiki Barber.
The Tiki curse.
It is the Tiki curse.
Got one last point with the Giants I want to make, guys. I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I think it's not only a Giant problem now, but it's turning into a league-wide problem. The really good offensive lines are just few and far between these days. And I think a big part of that is you look at the college game, and these offensive linemen are not being groomed for the NFL at all. I mean, you see so much spread offense. You see a lot of that, kind of vertical gunning kind of offense. And these offensive linemen, that's not how the pro game is played. So, I mean, I noticed a lot of bad offensive play in week 1. It wasn't just the Giants. You think about teams that like Seattle. Look at their offensive line. Oh, it's horrible.
It's like ours.
I'll get to them in a minute. But and that's a team that's what they want their identity to be, is a smash mouth kind of team, and they can't do it. So offensively, they're lost with their identity, and it's just a bad offensive line. It's a league wide problem.
Yeah. It is a league-wide problem.
So my point being, McAdoo, you got to get creative. You really have to find some tricks up your sleeve to take pressure off them. If you got to run a lot of, 12, 13 personnel, a couple tight ends, teach Ingram how to block, and max protect and try to push the ball down the field.
I agree. Something's got to give with that team. But Rye, all in all, I'm sticking to my guns. I like this team to go 10-6. I like this team to get better each week, and I like this defense to be a top 3 defense. That's my take on it.
I'm with you. On that.
Good. All right, let's switch gears. Let's move to a team that had a great Michael Hall. Talk about your Green Bay Packers for me, please.
Well, yeah, good start. I mean, 1-0's better than 0-1. Had Seattle come in, so there was no real introduction needed there. I mean, both teams know each other pretty well. And the game, I felt confident going to the game. I didn't think the defense would play that well. They were absolutely lights out. Mike Daniels, the guy's an all-pro. I mean, he hasn't been officially voted on the team yet, but he's going to be. He should be. But yeah, it's good. The offense, had trouble finding their traction early, but it is Seattle's defense. So I'm really not going to overreact there. Did some nice things offensively, especially in the second half. Did very well on third down. I don't know the number, but we're close to 50% converting. We did a good job getting them off the field on their third downs. Russell Wilson could not do a goddamn thing. They couldn't run the ball, so there was no run action game. Deep shots weren't working. The pressure was there all day. So, listen, like I mentioned, Seattle's offensive line is horrible. So I don't know how much of that was really good Packer D, how much of that was Seattle's offensive line being horrible. But if the Packers can bring that kind of energy and speed on defense all year, you're going to see a really, really tough team to beat for sure.
Right. Good.
Coming into the year, I mean, that was your concern, Mike. Is the defense going to be better? And
Always.
I know it's week one, and everyone overreacts to week one. And I know Seattle's offensive line isn't good, but you know what? They looked better.
You want, you can't ask for a better performance, to be honest. So a few things. I actually just saw that they just released Ladarius Gunter a few hours ago. Now he played a huge role last year. But I think that was more of a, he was forced in because of a lot of injuries. He did a nice job, but they let him go. I think you see when Demarius Randall and Quentin Rollins are healthy, they are very athletic corners, and they belong on the field. They both struggled mightily last year, but injuries had a lot to do with it. Daniels, I mentioned, the growth of guys like Kenny Clark, you saw right away. The rookie Kevin King didn't play much. He really only came in when Randall left for a few snaps due to injury. But I'll tell you who I really, really liked on Sunday, and you don't really see it on the score sheet, but it was Martellus Bennett. Now I think you guys all saw the personal foul he took late in the game.
Yeah,
you love that, don't you? I mean, AJ Wright comes in. It wasn't really even a dirty hit on Rodgers, but that doesn't mean you have to like it. And Martellus Bennett did not like it. And it was a perfect time to do it. Rodgers got the first down, so the yardage didn't matter. We're running the clock out. And Bennett let him know, and Bennett said it after the game. He said, I don't care if it's week 1 or week 16. If you take a shot at that quarterback, we're going to take a shot at you.
I love it, Mike. Just one thing before you keep going.
Yeah.
When I was watching it, I knew that it wouldn't hurt them. Like you said, they're running the clock down. It's just a loss of yardage. The first down is what mattered. They got it. Do you think that was actually in his mind? Because I was wondering that at the time. Do you think he was actually consciously thinking, you know what, doesn't matter if I push him down or not? Or would he pushed him down anyway in a spot that could have killed you?
Yeah, I don't think he knew. Because if Rodgers scrambled on the play and he slid, actually dove head first because he was close to the sticks. So I don't think Bennett could really see. I mean, I think, you flip a coin, Rodgers might have been half a yard short, and Bennett reacted very quickly. And yeah, I might think about it a little differently because it would have killed us. But you just like it. You like it. You like a teammate protecting the quarterback. And Bennett, he had a big catch to kind of seal the game, but some of the blocking he did on Sunday, in the run game, on no flashy plays, but big. We were backed up all the way in our own end after John Ryan pinned us for the 9 millionth time in his life. Just a great double. He blocked the defensive end and got up to the second level to get Montgomery just a 4-yard gain, but it gave us some breathing room. It was a really big play. Little things like that. And Bennett said he's not. He goes, don't draft me in fantasy. He's actually said this. I'm not a flashy fantasy football tight end. I'm a construction worker, he says. My hand's in the dirt. I'm a man's tight end, likes to get his hands dirty. And he's right. First game I've ever really paid attention to him in his career, and he ain't bullshitting me, man. His nose was dirty all game, and he was doing the little things to help us win, and I really, really liked it.
Well, Mike, let me ask you this. Since you're on Martellus Bennett.
Yes,
we had a taste of him for 1 year, so we really didn't get much. It was a couple of years ago, whatever. He actually scored a lot for us. My thing is, like, what do you think he brings to this team? I mean, I know you started talking about it already from week 1. What is he going to change for this team at that position, do you think?
Well, I think first of all, an on-field leadership. I don't know how he is in the locker room. I don't know if he's a big rah-rah guy or anything like that, but you do the things he did on Sunday, and that earns respect quickly and effectively, and I think he did. So guys can look to him on the field for leadership, and I think he can provide that. Football-wise, I mean, listen, he's gonna have some big catches. He can still get down the field. He can still stretch a defense down the middle.
He's a big dude.
He's a big dude. He's going to get some red zone targets and conversions for sure. So, you want me to give you a number, 40 to 50 catches, 700 to 800 yards, 5 or 6 touchdowns is fine.
That's a solid tight end season, bud.
Right. And I'm telling you, he is like a 6th offensive lineman, and he kind of relishes that role. I mean, that's what he's built for mentally and physically. And it was on full display on Sunday.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I don't know if you want to say any more about this team.
Well,
how you feeling? Like, where are we going? Like, what's this team going to do?
We're going to win the division. I mean, I know the Vikings looked pretty damn good last night, and they're going to be a good football team. And they always seem to give us some problems. But this is our division. It's ours to lose. Seattle's always a good test, and we passed. Now we go to Atlanta, open up their new building, and hopefully spoil that party. But that's going to be another good test. So we'll learn a little bit more about this Packer team after Sunday night.
Awesome stuff. Well, I'm hoping, the Packers aren't my second favorite team, but to be honest with you, I like the team. I do like this team. You're a big Packers fan. My brother's a big Packers fan, so I do watch a lot of Packer football, and I have them doing really good things this year as well. Ryan, I know you wanted to get some NFL picks for the year, so I think we should what do you guys want to do? You want to break it down? I mean, I have division by division, and then we can just shoot the playoffs.
Yeah, sure. Here. Let's do it quick.
Let's do it, boys. All right, let's start it off. AFC East. For me, it's a no-brainer. It's the Patriots. I think they're going to go 12-4.
Okay. I have the Pats at 13-3. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it's the Patriots.
Right?
Yeah, 12-4, 11-5 type deal.
Ooh, 11-5. Ooh. Take that, Belichick.
I like it. All right. AFC North. Michael, start us off.
The North, I think it's the Steelers. The Bengals look like shit. The Ravens, you can never trust the Ravens, and the Browns are the Browns. I got the Steelers winning that. 11-5.
Rye?
You know what? I know you said the Ravens, you can't trust them. I know you can't trust them. I think they're going to fight for that division because their defense is just so good. I know they showed it in week 1, but I'm going to go Steelers as well. I think it's going to be closer, like a 10-6 type thing.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm with you on this. I think it's the Steelers. I think the Steelers they got enough pieces. Their defense looked really good, albeit I know they were playing the Browns, but I think they'll improve this year. Bell will have a better game next week. Please, God, he's on my fantasy team. But yeah, I think it's a 10-6 season. Ryan, who do you like in the AFC South? This is an interesting division.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it could go different ways. What do you think? I mean, what do you think? I don't have.
All right, I'll lead us off here, and I think it's a changing of the guard because I think it's a team that's been blossoming the last few years with a really young quarterback. But I think the Titans will take this division. I would say around 10-6. Mike, what about you?
I agree 100%. I think they're the class of that division now, especially with no luck. You see how the Colts are without him. And you want to
no luck.
We talk offensive lines. Titans they got a better offensive line than the Cowboys. They're that good. And you got those two backs. You got a blossoming Mariota. Corey Davis is the real deal. Delaney Walker's tough to cover. Pretty good defense. I got the Titans winning that 10-6 as well, right?
You have them at 10-6, and that's my issue with the division. I don't like the division. I like the Titans because I really do like Mariota. Obviously, I have my favorite player, Eric Decker, on the team. But I'm thinking they might win the division. They could win that division at 8-8.
Ooh.
Could.
I don't think
that the rest of the division sucks.
Sucks.
Yeah, the division's
the Jaguars
awesome.
Suck. Come on, the Jaguars. That's not happening all year.
That was an anomaly. Come on.
Bortles didn't have to do anything. When he has to do something, they're going to lose, and they're going to suck.
I agree.
The game. And the thing is like the Colts with Tolzien, they're going to win no games with him if he's quarterback.
Yeah.
And Luck, like you said, like a few weeks ago, Luck might not play this year. You never
Telling
know.
you. I'm telling you, man. I'm going out on a limb that he doesn't even see the field. Or if he does, it's not going to be till like week 8 to 10.
Well, you know what? If he doesn't see the field,
I'm
I
telling
predict they never win a game this year.
Wow. All right, let's move to the AFC West. This division is so close each and every year that I actually really like a team. And it was even before week 1. And I hate to say it because he's a freaking walrus, but Andy Reid's Chiefs are going to win that division this year. I'm saying 11-5. That defense makes turnovers just that easy. They usually take it to the house. Now they lost Berry for the season, which is going to be huge, but I know that they can overcome it. This defense is that good, and they might have found a diamond in the rough in this Kareem Hunt guy. He is dynamic as shit. This is not an anomaly after week 1. What do you guys think, Mike?
Me and you were spot on here, Nuns. I have the Chiefs at 11-5. And you're right. That division is so good. I mean, to be honest, Trevor Siemian in Denver played okay the other night. But if you want, you could make a case for any one of those teams to win a division, and you might be able to sell me on it. It is that close. The Chargers are good.
I like the Chargers.
They're not bad.
You know, the Broncos are good.
Mm-hmm. Defense.
The Raiders are good. But I think the Chiefs
offense.
Right, and I think the Chiefs are the best one. Give me the Chiefs 11-5.
Well, you mentioned Eric Berry getting shut down for the year. I think it's bigger than we think.
Yeah, it could be.
He shut down Gronk.
Yeah.
Like, what did Gronk do in that game on Thursday? Nothing.
Not much.
I know it's like 11-5, and I feel like all my division winners, I'm like saying are lower than this, but like in that division, it's so good. How is a team going to win 11 games in that division?
I hear what you're saying, dude. I feel like this team is going to just do something special this year. I don't know. It's something that I'm feeling, and I even felt it before that game. And I even said I think they could beat the Pats, and they freaking demolished the Pats. They demolished them.
I mean, they did. I mean, and then the other thing, I mean, like you mentioned, their defense is great. Their special teams with Tyreek Hill out there.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even say that.
I mean, a lot of things can happen there. So I guess, but the Raiders were great last year. I don't expect them to be as good. The Chargers, I like, even though they lost last night. They had a chance to win that game last night in Denver to start the year.
Right. All right, cool. Let's move to the NFC then. All right, it's our favorite division, Rye. It's the NFC East. I'm sticking by my boys, not just because they're my team. I think they can really do it this year. They're going to win that division at 10-6. I don't care. That's another division that they love to beat up each other. All 4 teams just love to beat up on each other. No one's ever coming out on top as the class of that division. It's every year. It's a different division winner. Giants 10-6. Rye, go.
I know I have the Giants at 10-6. I think the Cowboys are right there with them. Obviously, they beat us week 1. I expect to beat them the next time, but I think it's going to be a dogfight, Cowboys, and I expect the Redskins to finish dead last.
Well, who wins the division?
Go ahead, Mike.
Who wins the division, Stan?
Yeah, who wins?
I want to say the Giants. I mean, but
then say the Giants. Say it.
Say what you want to say.
I don't know. I think it's going to be tough. I think the Cowboys might take the division and we get a wild card.
You know what?
Okay, Mike.
And that's what I have. I have them both at 10-6. But I think the Cowboys win it. Obviously they, already have a win over you guys, and we'll see what happens in the second meeting. But I have a weird feeling. The Giants are in the playoffs. They both finished 10-6, but my gut just tells me Dallas has the division.
All right, not a problem. NFC North, Michael, lead us off because that's your division.
Detroit Lions 16-0. No, I'm just kidding. The Pack. I'm gonna say they finished 12-4. Yeah, Packers all day.
Right.
13-3, Mike. 13-3.
Love it. You're smarter than I am.
That's awesome, dude. Mike, I was with you on that 12-4. I think this division's it's theirs. It's always theirs. I feel it every year. This division is theirs. I think the Vikings are good, but they're going to do exactly what they did last year. They're going to go 5-0 and peter out. I'm sorry. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to peter. Let's do the NFC South. Rye, lead us off with the South.
What do we got here? We got Atlanta coming off a Super Bowl. Arthur Blank getting on the field thinking they won the thing. I mean, I don't think they can recover, but I think.
Wow.
But I think, you know what? I think they're too good to not win a division.
What are we having them as?
10-6.
Mike?
Here's my might be the first shocker of this little segment. I say the Falcons don't even make the playoffs.
Ooh.
Call me crazy. You know how I feel about Matt Ryan. I think he's a touch overrated. I know I know they're loaded on that offense, absolutely loaded. But I don't know if they're going to be cursed from now on. That's Super Bowl loss, and you know how weird this division is anyway. It's like they all take turns. You know, Nunzi, you mentioned it before. In the NFL, there's so many ebbs and flows year to year. You can finish 13-3 and then win 3 games the next year. I think something like that happens to the Falcons this year. So I like Carolina this year in the South. I think a big bounce back from Cam. You add a few weapons. The defense is still pretty solid. I have the Panthers actually winning 11 games. I think the Panthers are going to be in the 2 seed in the NFC. They win the South 11-5. Lock it up.
You heard it here first, boys.
That's it.
I like it. I like these bold picks. I'm going to stick with the Falcons. I have them winning at 10-6. I just think, like you guys said it, they just have too much firepower on the offensive side. What about this guy, Austin Hooper, guys?
He sucks.
He looked pretty damn good week 1, man. If he can keep that going, all I'm saying is if he can keep that going, this team is not going to be stopped in that division. Their defense is a little bit better than you think. They're not great, but they come up with some big plays. I just I actually like their coach. I just think they're going to be too much in that division. I think they're going to be way too much. NFC West, guys. This is my fun pick because I think a lot of these teams suck ass. So I'm going to have the Rams winning at 9-7.
Oh, I love it.
Mike, go.
I have the Seahawks by default. Because like you said, the rest of them suck, and so does Seattle. But Seattle, they'll find a way to win 9 games because they'll kick the shit out of everybody in that division. But man, if the Rams win that division, I may throw a party.
Well, think about the Rams in the past against Seattle. They play them real well.
Yeah. Yep.
And this defense, how it looked. Listen, they played the Colts without Andrew Luck, but dude, they looked good. They looked good. And wait till Aaron Donald gets on the field.
Right, he didn't even play.
Didn't even play. Right, what are you thinking?
You know, I would love to say the Rams. I would love to. I can't. I'd have to go the Seahawks, but I'd want to say the Rams. But like you said, they face the Colts, and I just said that if Luck doesn't play, they're not winning a game this year.
I like that.
They're not winning a game. So
I know. I mean, that's my bold pick, guys. That's my little bold pick, but that's all right. We all had our bold picks. But listen, all right. So let's go down it this way. We got the playoffs now. Let's turn back to the AFC. Here's my 1 through 6, and then I'm going to tell you my championship game and who's making it to the Super Bowl. All right. So my number 1, I think the Patriots are going to take it at 12-4. They're going to be the number 1 seed. And also, like I told you guys, the team I really like is the Chiefs. They're going to be the 2. The 3 is going to be the Steelers. The number 4 is going to be the Titans. And then our 2 wild cards. Number 5 is going to be the Raiders. They're going to be second in that division. They're going to squeak out the Broncos and the Chargers. I think that whole division might go over 500, at least 500 or over.
Yeah. And
then my number 6 wild card team is the Ravens. Rye, you said it. Their defense is quite good. They looked really good. I'm not too high on their offense yet. I don't know. I don't trust Joe Flacco, but I think their defense is enough to get them into the playoffs. My championship game is pretty much chalk. I think it's going to be Pats Chiefs. And I think the Chiefs are going to win. They're going to do something in the playoffs this year. I know it's every year they have a good team and they peter out and they suck ass in the playoffs. They're making it to the Super Bowl. Mike, what do you got first in the AFC?
Ooh, Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I like it.
The chefs.
That's great, but who are the chefs? All right, here's my rundown. Pats won. Steelers. Steelers will earn a bye at 11-5. The Chiefs will be the 3. Titans 4. Those are my division winners. My wild card teams. Nunzi, I agree with you on the first wild card team. I think it's the Raiders. I know I kind of throw some shade at them all the time, but they're good. They're good enough to get in. They finished 10-6, right behind the Chiefs. They have that first wild card. The second wild card team. I want you guys to buckle your seatbelts.
Buckle.
If you have a beverage, you may spit it out when I say this.
Go ahead.
The Miami Dolphins at 9-7.
Why?
The Miami Dolphins at 9-7 are going to the playoffs.
Can you please explain that one? I'd love to hear it.
The Jets and the Bills, 4 wins.
Yeah, that's one thing. And honestly, I think because Jay Cutler, my darling, my sweet, sweet Jay, he's not in Chicago anymore. We know that. So I don't have the honor and the privilege of watching him twice a year. I think that now that he's not in my backyard anymore, so to speak, I just think he's going to play well. I think they have enough weapons offensively. The offensive line is good enough. You have a Jai. I mean, they could ride a Jai all the way to the playoffs, and I think they might.
Wow. Good pick. I kind of like it. It's not going to happen, but I like it. So who's your championship game and who's going to the Super Bowl?
Well, I got all the division, the Chiefs and the Titans winning the divisional games. Then I would have the Titans going to New England and getting murdered. I would have then Kansas City going to Pittsburgh. If the game was in Kansas City, I'd say the Chiefs. But I'm going to have the Steelers at Pats, 2-1, and the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. I hate to say it, but I know until I see otherwise. I mean,
cool pick, Mike. Real cool,
real sexy pick. I know.
All right, Rye, give us the rundown, my man.
All right. Well, in the AFC, I got the Pats number 1. I got the Steelers. I got the Chiefs. I got the Titans. And then I got the wild cards. This is what, this is a little different than you guys. Ravens, I agree with you, Rye. But then I got the Chargers in there.
Ooh.
I like them. I actually like that they're playing in this 27,000 person stadium. I think they're going to have some weird home field advantage. I know it doesn't really happen in the NFL unless you're playing in Seattle, but whatever. I like them. I like them this year. That's it. I just like them. Whatever. But I have the Pats going to the Super Bowl. I think because even though I said they could be 8-8 and win a division, the Titans, I think they win a playoff game. I think the Titans win a playoff game.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have them beating the Raiders.
Okay.
In Tennessee.
And then I have the Pats running. I have the Pats getting to the Super Bowl, and that's it from that conference.
So who's playing the Pats in the championship, the AFC championship?
You know what? I think the sexy pick would be the Steelers. Not the sexy pick. I mean the logical pick.
Logical, yeah.
But I want to say the Titans. I want to see some team make a run that we're not expecting, but I'm going to go with the Steelers.
Gotcha. All right, boys, let's move over to our conference in the NFC. I'm going to run it down for you. I think the number 1 seed is going to be the Packers. I think they're going to take that. Number 2 is going to be the Falcons. Just like that offense, guys. I know. It's they're going to have that hangover, but I just feel like they're just that good offensively. I think our G-men, Rye, are going to be the number 3 seed, man. I really do. Think they're going to win that division, and they're going to take the number 3 seed. The Rams, like I said, that was my little bold pick. They're going to grab the number 4 seed, get a bye. Not a bye, get a home field game. Here's my wild cards. Number 5, I hate to say it, it's going to be the Cowboys. They're going to get in. They just have too many good pieces on that team. And if that defense played like it did against us, we might be in trouble. And here's my second wild card. This might be a little silly too. I think it's going to be the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be. I think they're going to sneak in, but it's not going to matter because our Giants are going to destroy them in that first round. So, in the championship game, I got the Packers. And here we go. I got my G-men. I think we're going to make it there. I think we're getting there. Okay? So, who's winning? Packers, G-men. I hate to say it. Not that I hate to say it too much because the G-men are my team. I think the Packers make the Super Bowl this year. I think they're that good. And, Mike, like you said, if they can play defense like they did the other day, watch the hell out because that offense can score. That offense can score. So I think it's going to be Packers, Chiefs, and I'll wait to say my winner.
Ooh,
so, Mike,
suspense.
Tell us the NFC right now.
All right. Packers 1, Panthers 2, like I mentioned. Cowboys, we get the 3 seed, edging out the Giants in the East, and the Seahawks winning that shitty West will be the 4. The Giants will be my first wild card at 10-6. And I hate to say it, but I think the Vikings are in the playoffs. I think they will finish 10-6 as well, and we'll give them the 6. So that would send the Vikings to Dallas, and I think the Vikings would win that football game. I think the Vikings are good enough to win a playoff game, and let's be honest, screw the Cowboys. Even though it's the purple team, I'll give them the win there. That would leave us with Giants going to Seattle. Which just because of where it is, I think I would have to say the Seahawks would win that game just because winning that shitty division would give them the home game, unfortunately. So that leaves us Vikings going to Green Bay, game over, Packers. Seahawks go to Carolina, and Carolina, I think, would serve at home, leaving us with the Panthers at the Packers. Give me Green Bay at home in the NFC Championship game, 31-20. Packers in the Super Bowl.
Wow, look at that. He gives us a score, too. Rye, tell us your NFC rundown, bud.
I go 1 Packers, 2 Cowboys, unfortunately. 3 the Falcons, 4 the Seahawks as they win that division. And then I go the Giants to the first wild card. And then there's only 4 teams, I think, that could win the second wild card. And I go, it's the Panthers, the Vikings, the Bucks, or the Eagles, unfortunately. I cross the Eagles out. And I agree with Mike. I do expect better things from the Panthers this year, so I go the Panthers. And then I have the Giants winning that first round, and I got the Panthers winning that first round. So I think the 2 wild card teams will win that first round.
Road
That's
Warriors.
fun.
Yeah, and then I go, and then I guess that would leave the Giants. Eventually, I'd have the Giants to the Packers. And I think the only reason why I'd pick the Giants over the Packers, there's only one reason.
Why?
They beat us last year in the playoffs, and it's the redemption thing. I think that's a big thing in the NFL. I think that's why I think the Giants got their butts handed to them against the Cowboys yesterday or a couple days ago, because it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. Happening. So I think the Giants could pull an upset, a stunner, and make it to that Super Bowl.
So you have Giants in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, over the Packers. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I jumped right to the conference championship there. But yes, Giants in the Super Bowl.
Who are they beating? Is it Dallas?
No, the Packers, you said.
I said the
Packers. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. It's just going to be hard to beat a team that beat you in the playoffs last year. I think that redemption thing is big.
All right, cool. All right, so my Super Bowl is Chiefs-Packers, which I think I think that would be something fun to watch. Do you guys know where the Super Bowl is this year?
It's in Minnesota.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So Chiefs-Packers, I got the Chiefs. Chiefs are your Super Bowl winners. They're Super Bowl champs. Very weird. Very weird. I got high hopes for them this year. Not that I'm rooting for them. I think they they get over the hump, the monkey off the back. They're gonna roll through the playoffs, and it's gonna be a really, really tight game against the Packers. I'm gonna tell you it's gonna be 28-27 Chiefs.
Ooh.
Super Bowl champs. Mike,
You're a heartbreaker for me there.
Sorry,
all right.
but
So Packers Patriots Super Bowl. I mean, how do the Packers not win a Super Bowl in Minnesota? Wouldn't that be the sweetest thing on God's green earth?
it would.
I mean, come on. And listen, the Packers last 5-6 years, we don't play them often, but always play the Patriots really, really well and beat them. We always seem to have a plan for Brady and the boys.
Right.
So if that game would have happened, I said a few years ago after our debacle in Seattle in the championship game, I said if it's us against the Patriots, we're going to go and beat them. Of course, Seattle couldn't because they're inept in the final 2 minutes. But I like the Packers over the Patriots. Give you a score. Let's see. That game would be 31-25. Same score they beat Pittsburgh a few years ago.
Well, that's fun. But, Mike, I hate to say it, nobody beats the Patriots in the Super Bowl other than the New York Giants, just to let you know.
Well, we're joining the club.
Go ahead, Rye, because you have that game.
I have that game. And why do you think I picked that game?
I thought so.
Hey, Rye, it's hard to beat a team 3.
Who's winning?
Yeah. I got the Giants winning the game 24-23.
Oh,
I
love it.
I had to go this way. I think we need the third one. I know it's hard to beat a team. I know it's hard to beat a team in a row, but that's exactly why it's going to happen, because we'll be the big dogs again, the big underdogs again, and we'll do it again. And Brady won't know what freaking hit him.
Oh, yeah, he will.
He will, because somebody's going to sack him like Jay Alfred did in 2007. Guys,
Eli Apple, corner blitz, big sack in the fourth quarter.
I love it. I mean, that was the year that Chris Snee did not have a holding penalty against the Packers, by the way.
Clear cut hold.
Guys, great picks, man. That was fun. It got me all juiced up and excited. I had some fun with that. We had a fantasy football week in our league, and guys, we all lost.
Yes, we did.
The three of us lost.
Brutal.
Who wants to talk about their team first?
Let me start.
Go, Michael.
Let me start because I'm still steaming about this one. I lost to your brother by 1.2 points. Okay? I'm watching the Saint game. I have Michael Thomas. He's the only guy left in play for either team. I just need one more stinking catch for 7 yards? And he can't do it. He can't do it. Check down to Ingram. Check down to Ingram. Check down to Ingram. That's all they're doing when they're down 3 scores. I'm losing my mind watching this game. And then they score the touchdown. They throw it to who? Not Michael Thomas, but Kobe Fleener, for Christ's sake. And then the Saints defense, of course. Are they going to get the ball back? No, because they suck. And there you go. Wrap it up. Final nail in the coffin. I lose by a damn point.
By a fingernail, right?
By a fingernail.
So on your team, anybody impress you? Anybody just give you a
Jordy was good. He was pretty much my only
naturally.
Yeah, he was my only shining star. Olsen, huge disappointment. He had not even 3 points. I think he had
2.8.
Oh, horrible. Newton played okay. It was Jordy and then not much else. I was confident with Michael Thomas going in, but just 5 catches for 40 yards, just not good enough.
Well, you also had a stinker by Joe Mixon, and
yeah,
I think it's because that team just sucked ass. Right? You said it on the pod the other day. They just sucked ass.
Yeah, I watched the whole game. It was worse than watching the Giants. It was terrible.
Yeah, well, they didn't score any.
Yeah, and I don't want to play Joe Mixon, but I backed myself into the corner with the running backs. And I did have Zeke, and he was fine, but I didn't want to. Believe me, Joe Mixon, I do not want to be my running back too at this point. Because he's still kind of lost in the shuffle, and I think offensively they might be in a little bit of trouble. But I paid for that one.
Well, it's funny because my brother called me before And I was like, "How you feeling today?" You know, we both thought you were going to lose that game, and he just kind of chuckled. He was pretty excited about that. The only problem was he lost David Johnson for many, many weeks.
Very, very bittersweet.
Yeah, it was very bittersweet. And then I told him too. I said, "Well, the problem is just since you won that game but lost David Johnson, now you're a little too high." When we do waivers tonight to get that top waiver.
Exactly. It's going to be on the bottom half. And actually the best line from your brother, I texted him, congratulations on the win, this and that. And he was obviously very bummed about David Johnson. And I said, hey, but you want to know? And he said, yeah, so are the Jaguars.
That's real good. That is really good. Rye, you lost to Nicholas Adam. Tell us about that one, man.
Well, it's so funny. Coming in, I had the Thursday night. I have Gronk going, and he has nobody going, even though he had two guys from the game on his bench in Tyreek Hill and Mike Gillislee, and they both put up monster games. So I'm thinking I dodged this major bullet because he has them riding on his bench. And then my team just shit the bed. My bright spot is my defense. That is not good. That is not good at all. The Steelers scored on their first play. On the first, their first points was a score blocked punt. They scored, and then just the rest of it sucked. The whole fantasy league that we had, I thought it was a crazy fantasy weekend because I felt like there was no huge superstar performance other than Kareem Hunt, who I don't think was.
Rich left him on the bench.
Yeah,
right, on the bench. So all these guys that put up monster games in that first night were on the bench, and then there was just no one else that did anything for the week. Maybe Stephon Diggs had the best game. I don't even know. I didn't look.
Well, listen, Stan, I mean, a big part of why you lost, I mean, Adam Thielen ended up with 20 fantasy points last night for Nick.
I know that is what beat me.
And you know why Thielen was in there?
Why is that?
Nick had to change because Odell Beckham did not play.
Right, so he
put Thielen in, dude. That's how you lost.
Wow.
Funny, I didn't even think of that. That pisses me off even more now. Odell, you son of a bitch.
I mean, Stan, you lost by about 10 points, and Thielen put up 20. So there you go.
And then our league was just so strange. My brother won his game with his offense, with his team only scoring one freaking touchdown, and he won a fantasy week.
I thought that was amazing when you told me that before. That rarely happens. Well, guys, we're starting 8. So you think about usually leagues will start 9. So, give or take 10 points possibly, that's kind of on average. But guys, my team sucked ass. I scored 68.14 points and lost to Jay, who only scored 72.54 points. It was just an abysmal game. Big reason why my number one pick, Le'Veon Bell, I think he touched the ball 12 times or 13 times in that game. What are we doing, Tomlin?
Weird.
Giving me 6 fantasy points. When does he ever have 6 fantasy points? I think when he's not playing.
Do you think the holdout had something to do with that? I mean, why would he not touch the ball that many times? And with the game, the way the game flow was going, tight game, Bell, no?
You hit it right on the head, Mike. That is exactly what it is. That's exactly what Tomlin was doing. He was sending a freaking message. And you know what? I respect him for it.
Message sent. Get on to Le'Veon Bell being Le'Veon Bell.
Message sent. Mike Tomlin, hate you.
Message received. Omar Epps. Get on with it.
Guys, that was just the tip of the iceberg because my running backs just sucked ass. I had to start Rob Kelly because Jay Ajayi was on his week 1 bye.
That's rough.
But, I mean, it had to happen, obviously, with the devastation in Irma. The good point about Ajayi is hopefully if he stays healthy, I got him for the rest of the season, which is a good thing because I think he's a stud. I started the wrong quarterback, by 5 points because I feel like I draft Breeze first before Carr. I feel like I always in my gut feel like I have to play that guy. I feel like if I'm drafting Drew Brees as my quarterback, I can't sit him week 1. I don't know. That's just my feeling. I know he had a tough matchup in Minnesota.
I agree with you.
Right? It's a tough call, but I just in my gut I feel like you got to start Brees. It was what?
it's week one, like you said.
Yeah,
You got to play your big guys week one that you drafted at top half of the draft.
you do. Along with Rob Kelly giving me 3 points, Brandon Marshall with that 1.5, dude, he had 0 until the end of the game. I know. Laugh it up, Ryan. Enjoy your night.
All right. Well, we talked about our crappy own fantasy teams, but this is the end of week one, and sometimes losing week one is beneficial because you have that waiver wire capability. So give me a guy. I know everyone's talking about this, but give me a guy that you want to pick up this week or someone should pick up.
Well, I mean, for me, there's a few running backs that are really worth a look. I mean, we mentioned David Johnson going out, so that makes Kerwin Williams a pretty hot pickup. Arians has already said it, that Kerwin Williams will probably be the lead dog now. Tariq Cohen in Chicago just already carved himself out a little role alongside Howard in the passing game especially. So us being a PPR league, I think Tariq Cohen is going to be highly contested. And Buck Allen in Baltimore, Javorius Allen. Of course, when we did our little fantasy preview, what was our line? If they stay healthy, right?
Yeah.
And Nunzi, I think you mentioned Danny Woodhead.
What happened?
Healthy. What happened? There's the hamstring. And the interesting thing is, Terrence West is there, but Buck Allen out-touched him. I don't know.
They were touching each other? Yeah,
touching each other. And he got more touches. He snuck in more touches. So
they both look good. They both looked good, West and Allen. But
I mean, if you're desperate for some running back help, or everyone's always interested in depth, you got to take a look at Buck Allen too.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think you hit the guys on the head. If I'm picking a wide receiver, it's a guy that somebody had and dropped him. I think it was Nick in Galladay. I think, Galladay, celebrate. But he had 2 touchdowns, and what do you have? Like 6 catches or something like that?
He had.
Go ahead, give me the line.
He was targeted 7 times, 4 catches for
maybe 4
69.
catches. Yeah,
right, and the 2 touchdowns.
But I was watching a little of that game, having the NFL package, flipping back and forth. I was watching a little of that game. He looked pretty damn good. Don't know too much about him, but that's a guy you may want to target, and especially in a PPR league. You can't have too many wide receivers. Am I correct?
Correct.
So, I mean, I think if I'm picking a wide receiver, he's a guy to go for. In terms of other wide receivers, Rye, do you have any other ones in mind that you were thinking about?
I got one. I hate him.
I know you do.
Nelson Aguilar.
Yes.
Because, I mean.
Nelson.
Alshon Jeffrey, I mean, is on the one side, but I feel like if Wentz likes him, when you're that young quarterback in the league and you could get a good rapport with somebody, I know it's one game. Like, I know he wasn't good last year, but at this stage of the game, I'd take a gamble on him. I'm never taking him because he's an Eagle, but.
Well, hey, listen, I mean, You mentioned Jeffrey on the other side, but Alshon Jeffrey targeted 7 times. Nelson Aguilar targeted 8 times.
Yeah,
so there's some intrigue there.
And I think many people, when they do fantasy and they go throughout the year, a lot of people, and I know this, a lot of people don't look at that stat, that target stat.
Oh, it's the biggest one.
Well, I know it doesn't count for any points in our league, but it's huge to see who's the quarterback looking for, basically. Right. Who's he looking for a lot? And if a guy has a lot of targets, there's a possibility he's going to have a lot of catches, a possibility. So I think targets are very, very important when looking for even running backs too, and tight ends, anybody who's going to touch the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I think targets can be telling kind of in the other way when you have a ton and you're not getting a lot of catches. That scares the shit out of me. And a good example is Dez Bryant Sunday night. I know he's going against Jenkins, who's a Pro Bowler, but Dez was targeted 9 times. He had 2 catches.
Yeah.
That scares me if I'm a fantasy owner of Dez Bryant. But like I said, maybe it's just a matchup. But, targets are it's the first thing I look at.
I got one more wide receiver for you guys.
Shoot.
Cooper Kupp.
Oh yeah.
Love the name.
Coop Cup.
Coop Cup.
Coop Cup.
Solo.
He was targeted 6 times, which is a decent average for his first game. 4 receptions, 76 yards, and a touchdown. 15.6 fantasy points, which is very, very solid. A 19-yard average. I watched a tiny bit of that game, not much, but he looked pretty damn good. And another guy I really don't know too much about. What do you think about him?
I think he's going to lead that team in catches this year. With the Rams, I don't love any of the other receivers. If Goff can make a couple steps forward here, and they have a good balance with the run game, they have Gurley, and like we said, an emerging good defense. Kupp could be the guy. I mean, he could turn into a PPR darling.
Yeah. Right. I want to ask you this. Okay, Allen Robinson, he went out with an injury.
Duty.
Right. So, do you think it's smart to pick up a guy maybe like Allen Hurns or Marquise Lee? What do you think about that?
I think it's worth the gamble. I don't think they're gonna give you much though the rest of the way.
Okay.
I think it's worth the gamble though. I mean, why not? You're trying to catch lightning in a bottle, and if you pick up Hurns, a couple years ago was really good in garbage time, but he was really good in the garbage time.
Right.
And so I think you take the gamble, but I don't love him. And Cooper Kupp, just one thing on him. My nephew's name is Cooper, so I love it.
Of course you do.
Good match.
Good match. Who in our league's picking up Sam Bradford? Come on.
Oh boy, you?
Why? Because he was a
Sooner.
No, I got 2 solid quarterbacks. I'm not picking them up. I don't think anybody will, to be honest with you. I'm making a bold decision right there. Maybe it's not too bold. I don't know.
Well, no one's going to hate their quarterback situation this early, I don't think.
Right.
So you normally don't see those early quarterback pickups, even the hot ones, Alex Smith, Sam Bradford. So I don't think any quarterbacks will get scooped up this early. If he keeps it up though, week 5, week 6, he'll be going.
Yep.
Right. Any more on fantasy, boys? What do we got? I mean, it was a rough week for us, but I think we need to all bounce back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on to week 2 and hope it's for a better outcome.
Yep. Everyone jump on the waiver, improve the team. If you're not improving, you're getting worse. So get on the waiver wire, make your pickups, and win your next matchup.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I hate when a team just kind of sits around all year, doesn't make any moves. And just, I feel like they'll lose interest after week 6 or 7. And then it's not fun anymore when you play guys like that because you'll get guys that are starting guys who are injured. Get out there, be active, have fun, talk some trash because that's what it's all about.
Oh, let's talk a little trash, Kenny Leverock.
Oh.
Okay, so Kenny, who is the biggest shit talker of all time, and you get him in a fantasy football league, and he is like a pig in shit. Kenny, we saw his draft in Dave Salemi's league, and we were all pretty critical of it, and rightfully so. Kenny got his ass kicked in our league, losing by, let's see, 53 points. The biggest ass kicking of the week. Yes, he did play the highest scoring team, which was Mikey Kingston, who scored 130. No one else scored over 96. I mean,
that was an
crazy week.
Unbelievable week for him.
But Kenny, my God, horrible job.
Yeah, I like it. We'll continue to talk some trash. We definitely will. You're right though, Mike. Mikey Kingston just dominated. 130 with starting 8 guys is huge.
Yeah, I mean, really quick. I mean, he had Antonio Brown, he had Stephon Diggs, and he had Rams defense. So that tells you pretty much the whole story. Yeah,
starting Carson Palmer too.
Exactly.
Well, he had Todd Gurley too, who almost put up 20 points.
I miss Gurley. He had a really, really good week. Dangerous team.
Yeah, he's got a dangerous team, and unfortunately, my brother draws him in week 2. We'll see how that goes. It's funny just to mention before we wrap it up. I get to play Rich, so the two lowest scoring teams get to battle it out next week.
Good luck.
Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. If I put up 50 points, I'm just killing myself or something. I don't know. But yeah, guys, it was. I enjoyed it. You know, time went quick. I thought, but
I'm starving here.
You're starving. I know you're starving. Well, I hope if you guys
starving.
will listen. Yeah, I hope you guys listen out there. It was an enjoyable show for you. We talked a lot of football, reality, and fantasy. You know, check us out on YouTube, man. We're always on live. We give some updates, but check our channel out, please. We want to get to that 10,000 view mark. Please check us out on SoundCloud and iTunes. Also on Twitter. Please tweet us at The Angry Hacks. We'll be back for some more pods very soon. I think we're coming back on Thursday, right, boys?
Yes, we are.
We are coming back for Thursday. We're gonna preview some week 2 of football, talk about some other stuff, enjoy the conversation, and away we go. So I hope everybody had a good time. I know we did, and we will see you soon.